earphones. Yeah, it's like
Oh,
that. Yeah, after you
okay.
put on the earphones, it's different, ain't it? Yeah.
Okay.
Yo, Doski, you know what I'm saying? Hey, we got the Rise and Royalty podcast, the greatest podcast in the 317, powered by Numbers Media. I want to say a big shout out to everybody who's been supporting us thus far and everybody who's gonna support us in the future. We have the ominous. We have a man of many different talents this time, you know, a man who really I revere in a bunch of different ways because we've had a lot of different collaborations. I don't even know how to best introduce this man, so without further ado, please introduce yourself, boss.
Yeah, my name is YC Christopher Young, from Shelbyville, Indiana.
Hey.
Shelbyville, man.
I rock with it. I want to know, you know, the Christopher Young, you know what I'm saying? And I'm going to divulge into that during this podcast. So we're going to start off with my first question. What were your hardships in early childhood?
The biggest ones were watching my mother go through 4 marriages on her 5th now. That was, because then, you know, when you have to follow someone's lead as a man, you know, a lot of it was trying to figure out what that man wanted. When you change generals so many times, it gets confusing. You know, by the time I got to high school, you know, I went from Christian to Jehovah's Witness, from elementary to high school. So I went from having Christmases and birthdays and holidays to having no holidays, no Christmases, no birthdays in a matter of, you know, a few years. So I think as I got older, it made me realize like what holidays are really about also. So that was definitely the main hardship that I had. Some of the other ones, growing up in Shelbyville and Rushville, being a minority, looking different, being different.
Yeah.
And then going to the east side of Indianapolis, 38th and German Church, 38th and Shaylin.
So I have to ask, so like when you say grew up, so like you were born in Shelbyville.
I was born in actually a place called Connorsville, which is even deeper into the neck of the woods.
Into nobody where nobody knows.
Yeah. So but I was raised in Rushville, which is a town right after Shelbyville. And then I moved to Shelbyville in like 2011. So
all right, so I mean, when I say early childhood, of course I'm speaking before teenage years. So before teenage years, you know what I'm saying, you're going through, were the 5 divorces in that, like,
three were before high school.
So 3 before high school. So how did that affect you? Because there's other creators who will see this podcast, and I feel like that's something that will actually mean a lot to them to kind of understand, you know, how that affected you. Like, because for me personally, like my mom, she was divorced twice in my adolescence. The second time, like the first time, I didn't even realize it. Like I was like 3 years old, you know what I'm saying? So then the second time, I was actually 7. And like I came home one day and it was just like, oh, he's never gonna be back. Like I don't want nothing to do with that man. Woo woo woo. I didn't really, and he was already my stepdad, so it was like I didn't really have that that I don't know. Like I didn't feel no type of way about it.
Right.
But how did you feel about it? Like, did you ever actually build connections with these men and then like?
Yes, every single one. Because now that I'm older, there's things I think, because I went through counseling from probably like 5 to like 7, then like in my teenage years, and then in my 20s, and then now in my 30s, I've been through a lot of counseling. So as I got older, I started realizing and looking back, why am I in the way I am in relationships? Because you know I try to build the perfect one, but why? What are the me thinking that you can only ever have a perfect relationship in an apartment because you saw the happy relationships were in apartments, not houses. But that's not the case. The case is the relationship wasn't working, right, as you got older.
Whoa, wait. So, like, you were in these relationships, like
as I got older.
So like, as you were younger, when you were younger, you were, like, consistently living in apartments.
Well, my mom's relationships were houses. And then, like, my uncle's relationship that lasted his whole life until he passed away a couple years ago was an apartment. My dad's never been married, and he's been with the same woman in apartments in high school since I've been since at least high school.
Oh, so you just like generalized in your mind, like, okay, like it's really this that is the problem. It's the external thing. It's not an internal thing. It's this external thing that's causing the problem in the relationship. That's how you felt.
Right. And as I got older, and then just recently going through couples counseling, I figured out that that's not the case. It's the relationships that are in those homes that make it either last or not last. So now I'm moving out of an apartment into a 3-bedroom house. I got the lease today.
Hey, so, turn up. That's all
we definitely about to turn up over there, bro.
Yeah, we going
just
up.
Me and my son, bro. Just the boys. So
hey. You
never need to get away. Come see me, bro. You know
for all the dogs, I'm gonna slide through.
Yes, sir.
You feel me? You my dog for real. As my boy Ollie would say, was goody. I'm not sure if y'all tapped in yet, but this is a City Flooders hat. If you want your logo, your brand, you got a cup, you got a chain, you got a hat, you got a shirt. Just go ahead and reach out to me in the comments below, or you can hit my inbox. Peace. All right, so you kind of broke down your adolescence, 3 relationships smashed, between your mom. You made connections with all of these men. You learned different things. You went through different phases in life with them in early childhood. So now moving in to your teenage years, what did you struggle with? You know what I'm saying? What I hear a lot on this podcast about is how a lot of people struggled with actually identity. Like they were like, okay, am I going to be how everybody else is, or am I going to be like myself? Like in your case, I mean, being in places like Shelbyville, then like, were you in Shelbyville when you were a teenager?
I was in Rushville, which is like deeper. Like I was probably like 3%.
So then it's like you're in Rushville. I'm assuming this is a primarily white kind of area. Correct. So it's like now you're having to try and like cultivate culture while having none, So like, how did that go for you? What were your biggest struggles as a teenager?
School. I had ADHD. I was diagnosed at like 5. So by the time I got to high school, they created that No Child Left Behind law, and so I was failing grades and I was getting pushed through. So by the time I got to high school, I was like, well, shoot, if I can get to junior high getting bad grades, I'll get through high school. And then my freshman year, I failed. And when I failed, I was like, wow. That was the first time my mom was like, see, you didn't listen. This is the consequence. And it wasn't like, oh, we need to get a tutor. It was like, you're not putting in the work ethic. And so from there, I was like, all right. And then they were like, you can go to summer school, or you can do it a whole nother year at school. Well, at the time, being immature, I'm like, I'm not taking my summer. You can get my summer. and that's one less year. I gotta be an adult, right? Like I'll be a senior, whatever. And then I met one of my homies that I grew up with. His younger brother was a grade below us. Then when I started hanging around him, he was more into sports. And that's kind of what got me my grades better and, got me through school. But definitely the academic part of high school. The identity stuff I really didn't have a problem with, because as far as like knowing who I was, because I knew that I loved being a black man. Yeah. I never, no matter what racial things that people tried to throw at me, my mom always taught me, don't let them get you out of character. And that's one thing I've always held to a standard, because at the end of the day, whether it's black on black, white on black, black on Mexican, anybody can get you out of character.
That's real talk.
So that's how I looked at it. And for me, the racial stuff didn't really happen as often as you would think. But when it did happen, they never did it in my face. They never got in my bubble.
It's crazy because one thing that I find very evident actually is that when you run into Black people who grew up in Black sectors, there's actually a more racist perspective, I feel like, than when a Black person grows up around these white communities. Of course, there's your situations where like these racial tensions happen, but equally, like, well, to my knowledge, this could have happened, and I just don't remember it. But in my teenage years, I don't ever remember like being a rapper and people being like, "That's a Black thing." They just were glad and thought it was cool that I was a rapper. It wasn't like, oh, he's doing that black guy thing again. Like,
Right,
like, no,
right.
it's like, no, bro, he's the dopest rapper like that we like, you know, in the city or whatever, you know, the king of the NOB, you know,
Right.
that's what they was calling me. So it's like, you know, at the end of the day, I've always found that very evident and almost paradoxical, you know, because it's like black people, I feel like insinuate a lot of time that they're oppressed, but it's almost like only thinking that they're oppressed is the reason that they're oppressed. Because when it comes down to it, it's like no other race is actually afflicting you. Like they're not consistently or persistently afflicting you. And even the best example of this that I have is I was sitting in the whip, you know, I pull up to a gas station. This was some years ago. You know, I got this little shawty with me, and we get out the car. I go to walk into the gas station. As I'm walking into the gas station, there's this white man. He opens up the door. There's a guy in front of me. He says, "Oh, I'll open up the door for you. Have a good day." "Oh, I'll open up the door for you too. You have a blessed day." And I'm like, "Oh, thanks, bro. I appreciate you." I walk in. I come back out. She looks at me and she's like, "Did you see that?" I was like, "What?" She was like, "He said, I opened up the door for you too. Have a nice day." I was like, yeah, that's a good thing, right?
Yeah.
She was like, "No, he said that like he didn't really want to open the door for you." I was like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "It doesn't work like that."
Yeah,
I was
no.
like, "That's not at all what I got from that." I was
Yeah.
like, for me, it was just a positive interaction. Everything was perfectly fine. You know, I don't have any problems with this. You know, this was a normal, this is a normal interaction for me. And yeah, she didn't feel the same. So I definitely understand a little bit of your racial dynamic and the fact that I have spent equally the same amount of time, well, maybe not the same amount of time, maybe a little bit more in the suburbs, but between the suburbs and the city, in my collaboration as a team. But what I'm getting is that you personally feel like your biggest struggles came less from identity and more just from, I mean, I guess it would just be like confusion of like who you're supposed to be. Like, I don't know how to say that because it sounds like it's the same thing,
So,
but it's like
yeah,
you
so-
knew who you were,
Right. So
but you're
like-
just everywhere.
Right, because I didn't want to be a stereotype, right? Like all the, oh, you have to play sports, or oh, you have to be a dancer, or oh, you got to be a rapper, or oh, you dress with hip hop clothes, or because I wore San John, and all my friends were Aeropostale and Abercrombie and Fitch.
Same.
Exactly, bro. So like when we got around certain parents, you know, obviously parents usually were the issue. They'd be like, "I don't want you to date my daughter. You're wearing rapper clothes." Like, no, I'm just actually wearing clothes like my dad bought. Like, I get clothes from the city. Your kids get clothes from the city too, but they go to, like you said, the malls, the suburbs. Like, I'm going down to City Trends and you know what I'm saying. So
Shout out City Trends.
yeah. So like that was for me. That was kind of that's exactly what you're saying. Like, there was the identity, but it wasn't necessarily like I don't know who I am. It was like I know I want to be who I am, but it's hard because I don't want the dancing monkey or the oh, he likes to have hot sauce on this shit. Like I used to low key even not eat watermelon, bro, because they used to say that shit. Now I eat watermelon all the time. I fucking love watermelon. But like because of my friends or people around me, like, oh, you know, watermelon fried chicken eating, I wouldn't eat that shit. I'd just be like, no, I want it. They're eating it though. They're eating it, but I can't eat it because
you didn't want nothing to do with the stereotypes.
I didn't, bro. I didn't. And so even like going to my dad's on the weekends, I would go to the city, MTV jams in the living room dancing.
See, that's crazy because my teenage years, bro, I was the opposite. That's the craziest thing. Like, I was so like, man, like these white people, like they really think it's cool when I'm a nigga.
Right.
For real.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yes.
so bro, I was like,
Yes.
that's what I'm trying to be, bro. Like, you feel me? Like my brothers, like they even would get on me. They'd be like, you got a lot of book knowledge, but you ain't got no street knowledge for real. So it's like, bro, I'm telling you, like, I'm just like, literally, I mean, like, I'm literally Jacob, bro. Like, my name's Jacob, bro. So I was Jacob as fuck, bro.
Yeah.
I was Jacob back then, bro.
Right.
So it's like, man, like, Like back then, when in my teenage years, bro, like I was really trying to that's what pushed me into the thug life. You feel me? That raw, you feel me? City, like I'm in the city every single week, bro. I'm coming back with stories. I'm trying to get in all the foolishness just so that I have stories and clout and prestige that I feel like from my culture. Like I felt like I couldn't not be a part of my culture and like call myself a black man.
Right.
So it's interesting to hear your story because you were like fighting against the stereotypes, and I was like, please, like I was like, what, like, oh, I gotta wear baggy clothes, like I'm wearing skinny jeans, I gotta find baggier clothes.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I was like that, bro. You feel
But
me?
I still live the culture. It's just certain areas I kind of backed off on. So like I said, Sanjan, the FUBU, you know, the hip hop music, the dancing. I still did that stuff because, like you said, bitches love that shit, right?
Facts.
They
Facts.
like chicks were like, "Oh my god, you can dance! Oh my god, you can do backflips! Come over!"
Yeah,
like,
I swear.
So I was like, I fed off of that stuff, but as far as like the other stereotypes, like food, it was mainly food stuff. Like I can kind of get away with, right? Like I might go to my dad's side and eat it all, but I'll be in the city, I'll be in the country, and I might not eat it. So it was time. So I kind of code switch. That's where I was learning to code switch.
I agree. And I understand that.
I
yeah,
didn't know that at the time.
yeah. I thought that you had to choose one too at first, but then I realized like no, like actually it makes you more capable of achieving just certain things in life if you can do both. Because if I can do both, then that means that I can sit down at $1 million conversation and I can sit down with what I consider real people. You feel me? I could just sit down with some real people and have a real conversation and not feel like awkward, you know?
Right.
I think that that's one of the weirdest things is that, and maybe this is a bit political of me to say this, but I think it's weird that people who have never been in poverty make the rules on how poverty should work.
Yeah.
Like they're like, oh, well, this is enough aid for impoverished people. You've never been impoverished, so how do you know what enough aid is?
True.
Like, how do you know what? Yeah. How do you know what they need and don't need? You know. So I've always found that kind of weird. But you know, thank you for that tidbit on your teenage years. So now we're gonna go into like the Gassan. You feel me? Between your teenage and for those who don't know, Rise and Royalty Podcast is powered by Numbers Media Group. If you have a podcasting idea or you just want to network, you want to lock in with us, go ahead and reach out to us using our contact information in the description below. Adulthood, you know, what hard lessons did you have to learn in early adulthood?
Alcoholism, for sure. Watching my uncles, because from teenage to at least, so we're talking 15, freshman year to like 22, 23, even I'll go up to 25. Like, I watched my uncles do it so much that I was more brave because I'm like, they function, you know, they still go to work, they still do, but they were drunk a lot. Like I watched them fight at family reunions. I've seen them do all that stuff. So when I got introduced to it at an older, so I tried it at 15, didn't like it, never did it again until I was like 18, 19. And so when I got that age, you know, I'm bigger, I'm older, I'm more brave now. So I started drinking and I'm like, well, if they can do it, I can do it. You know, if I watched them put down bottles a day.
Dang.
So I'm thinking like, I can do that. They're my blood, right? Like, that's how it works. That's how I'm thinking.
Yeah.
So I'm drinking as much as they are at 18, 19 years old. I'm 100 and probably 35, 40 pounds.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm getting blackout drunk every night. And then I end up going to Ivy Tech for a year, from 20 to 21, or from 19 to 20. And then from 21 to 22, I went to Vincennes University for a year. And if you've been to Vincennes and party down there, you know how they get down there. Jungle Juice, most colleges anyway, Jungle Juice and whatever. So so much alcohol. And now I think back, I'm like, man, like I had the things that be successful, and I had the right. If I would have been thinking like now, like all the graphic design, the T-shirts, I'd be so far ahead if I just would have, because that was a mecca of black folks, man. That was where I could have got my black card or whatever, felt more part of the culture or whatever.
Yeah.
Because that's where, but I chose to be in groups where it was multicultural. There was white girls, there was white dudes. My roommate was a white dude. But then there was mixed girls. There was black people. Me. So it was a mixed group. It wasn't just all black people. It wasn't just all white people. That my group was. We call ourselves the Vigo fam. We were all different. There was like a Parisian girl. There was a midget in our group, bro. Like
what, bro?
Yeah, bro.
That's exclusive.
Yeah.
Having a midget in the peer group
Hey, bro,
is
it was
exclusive
so
because I don't even think I've ever like I couldn't like call a midget right now. Like there's no midgets
Yes.
in my that have ever been in my contact list.
Her name is
So
Allie,
that's
bro.
hard body.
When I first met her, I said, "I'm sorry, but if you ever every time you run, if I laugh, just don't take no offense. When your little arms just be going, girl, I can't help it.
When your little arms just be going.
Hey, bro.
Bro, that is crazy.
But yeah,
That's crazy.
definitely alcohol, man.
So
Definitely.
the hard lesson that you had to learn was what? That alcohol was holding you back. That how to manage that. I could definitely understand, because that's one thing that I had to learn. I didn't realize how unproductive I was until, I'm 26 now, and being on probation for 2 years, has really changed my perspective on a lot of things. There be times that I've, I've been able to see so many things differently, because it's just after you're this sober, I'm sober a lot of times. It's you know what I'm saying? When I say sober, it's bro, I remember, in comparison to who I was before, there be times that my grind is almost it's when you don't have nothing else holding you back, then it's grinding is all you do. So when people are bro, how do you have all this energy? It's after you stop vaping, then you actually just feel the difference. Then you just have it's 12 a.m. and for some reason you're just not sleepy.
Right.
It's no matter what the situation may be, that's just kind of how it goes. Ultimately it's okay, when I'm ever talking to people about my past woes, my problems, my achievements or whatever, then I really do feel like having to deal with substance abuse problems. It's not even as much did he ever get into hard drugs and was he picking his face,
Right.
out in zombie land? No, bro, I wasn't doing that.
No, me either.
But it's bro, I did nothing for years.
Yeah.
I had I thought that it was cool to just not do nothing, to not have no aspirations.
Right.
I was going to jail and I didn't even realize this until I went to jail recently. Got that case dismissed, glory be to God. But it was I remembered when I went to jail, I was thinking to myself, I was about all the times in my past that I had gone to jail. And the reason it didn't matter is because I didn't have shit to lose.
Right.
It just didn't matter.
True.
It was there was no house payment, there was no car payment, there was no kid, there was no nothing. So it's if I go to jail right now, it doesn't matter. Okay, I'm gonna have to go spend 6 months locked up. But the only there's nothing that I'm actually gonna lose. You know what I'm saying? But now it's man, if I go to jail, it's the whole world.
Yeah, bro.
It's I can't just spend a week off the grid.
Yeah. So on even though what you're saying, the jail stuff, so I've been going to jail since I was 19, bro. And the first one was, it was theft. I got in the dude's car, stole his iPod, and then a few days later, I was at a park and I had it, and him and his mom were looking for it. They had the receipt, and on the back of the iPods back in the day, there used to be a serial number, and the serial number would match the receipt. Well, of course, me being 18, 19, I didn't know that. It's like a week before homecoming, bro. So I had to go pick up my brother and sister from the boys' club. I pick them up, take them home. I get back to the park. Everybody's like, "Man, cops are here looking for you." I'm like, "Ah, fuck." So I go back home. Like 2 weeks goes by. My cousin called me "Hey, the police are looking for you. They came to my mom. They came to my house. My mom's mad at me." I'm like, "My bad, bro," because he had the iPad when I left. So the park that day. And so the cops went to his house. I called the cops. I go down there, and I had this elaborate story, bro. I thought I had it perfectly planned. My homie had just moved to Tennessee, so I was like, "Hey, it was stolen. I bought it stolen." That's what I told them. My homie just moved to Tennessee. I didn't know it was stolen. And they're like, are you sure that we're not going to see you go in that parking lot and steal that iPod? And I was like, he said, from the camera from the outside? And I'm like, damn. Not knowing that Walmart's parking lot never had cameras on the outside. And what did I do? I told him myself. I was like, yeah, I took it. So right there, my mom was there.
Wait. You said that Walmart didn't even have cameras on the outside.
No, sir. The cops straight lied to me and to get me telling myself. Bro.
That's crazy.
And after that moment, that was one moment, too, I knew, like, never trust the police, bro. Unless it's like a brother or a cousin, but even then, still, like they still have to feed their family too. So if it's not somebody you grew up with and you've been in the trenches with, like I probably wouldn't trust them when it comes to law because it's just like it was that quick. And then 21, 2 years later, or 3 years later, 22, I got hit with the contributing to minors because all my friends are like 18, 19, 20, 21, 20.
Yeah.
So we had too many parties at our apartment in Shelbyville. And eventually we got busted. So
it's crazy. It's crazy that you bring that up because I think that I remember when I was 21 and that was the first thing that like I was terrified of getting. Like there was a time, you feel me? Like I remember even when I was like, yeah, I was 21 and we had a party and we wake up the next morning, whatever, 12's at the door. They're like, hey, we know you guys are partying here. We was out in Tipton. We know you guys are partying here. Woot you, woot. You feel me? And I'm like, well, I was like, there ain't no problems here. You feel me? Everybody's 18 and up. You feel me? We cool. And then he was like, yeah, but we found a liquor bottle. I was like, bro, are you serious? Because you found a liquor bottle in the crib. Then like now this, like I didn't even know that was a thing until then. I was like, what? And then I was at this other party, bro. I just picked up a sack, bro. I had like, 100 beans on me, bro. 100 of them. And I'm like, man, I'm at this party. The party gets busted by 12, bro. And I'm sitting in the party, man. And all these cops are everywhere. And I'm sitting here, and there's like a refrigerator right behind me. So I like slipped the 100 Zans out of my pocket, and I stuffed it under the refrigerator, bro. And because I was like, bro, if they give me this, bro, I'm going down for life. Niggas are never gonna see me again. Like, cause you never know, bro. Like it'd be the one Zan that they test. They like, oh, this one's got something in it. Like it's an extra chart or something. You feel me? So it's like
they can rack up anything.
For real. So I definitely, I feel what you feel, when it comes down to it, I've definitely been in many shicey situations. I done been pulled out my crib naked by the cops. I done been, you feel me?
I never had that, bro.
Yeah, I'm telling you, bro.
Not like that. I've been pulled over sober and had to do the sobriety test sober, but.
Bro, I'm telling you, that's why like my most people don't know this, but like my esteem in Hamilton County, like they call me the king of the NOB and stuff, and all of that comes from years of actually tyranny fighting between me and the cops. You know what I'm saying? But now I don't be doing nothing, so I've been essentially proving my case. You feel me? I'm not sure if you see me on the Noblesville Chatter, but yeah, bro. Yeah, bro. I be going crazy on there because like, a lot of people just, would talk crazy about me or they say whatever they say. And, I'm me. Like, it's like, I'm doing all of this music stuff. You feel me? So, and I'm, now I got the podcast and stuff and I'm living my life right. So anytime they pull up on me now, then it's like, bro, anytime they try and give me the third degree, I be tweaking, bro, because it's like, bro, I can't lie. That PTSD lasts for life.
It
like
does.
after you figure out that the road pirates are not here to serve, bro. No. They are here to rack up charges, bro. You feel me? I done had homies get bopped for .001 stuff. You feel me? Like it can get dangerous. Not out here in the city. But you get into any community where there's not enough niggas, bro.
The first charge, 19, they try to give me 4 years in prison for that stolen iPod, bro.
Are you serious?
4 years in prison. And my mom got a lawyer. She's like, you can either get out and we can fight it, or we can get a lawyer. I say, get a lawyer, because we don't know what we're doing. Obviously, because if I just would have told them I'm not speaking without a lawyer, I probably would have never went to jail in the first place. Right? Like
yeah, that's true.
Because they tricked me and my mom to go in there to talk to them in private without a lawyer. At 23, a year later, I got hit with a possession charge out there in the country, in the middle of nowhere. Bro, it was probably 2 a.m. in the morning, bro. We're going to this other party, out in the country, and we go through 2 stop signs, and there's a sheriff out there just chilling, bro, at like 2 o'clock in the morning. And we get pulled over. He asked me, you know, what's going on? Where am I going? I said, going to a party. I said, he's like, is everything in the car? I said, yeah, there's a gram of weed. My mama said, always be truthful.
Yeah,
right?
bro.
Always be truthful. I said, okay, and this is when the laws just passed where they can give you a ticket. Yeah. So I'm like, so I get out of the car. So then he's like, well, let me read you your rights. So I'm like, all right, go ahead. Can I trust your car? No. Do you want to talk to me anymore? No. You know, all the shits. And he's like, all right, well, I'm going to get it's a canine unit. So he's like, I'm going to get the canine out. If it indicates, I'm going to search the car. What does the dog want to do? I just told you there's weed in the car, bro. The dog's going to indicate. So he searched the car. 30 minutes, bro. And it's like freezing. It's like 30 minutes, bro. He's like looking everywhere. Air ducts, CD cases, in the middle console. Well, I threw it under the seat. It was my first time, and what fucked up about it was my first time ever buying weed, bro.
Are you serious?
Swear to God. First time ever buying it. I usually would just smoke it where my homies would get it, and I would just smoke all with them because I never wanted to ride with it. Because being black in white community, I knew that. Like, that's one thing you can't fuck around with. And then one time, I was trying to take it back home with me one night, bro. First time. And I fucking... Raps. Went to jail. I was like, can't you just give me a ticket, man? Like, you don't have to take me to jail. He's like, I'm taking you to jail. But luckily, I just got my tax money, so I bought it myself out the next morning. But it is what it is.
But I know what you mean, bro.
And then 25, I got hit with the DUI, and that's when the alcohol. I was like, all right. All the years that like my junior senior year, we used to drive from Rushville to Ball State every weekend when we were juniors and seniors. And most of the times, I was the one driving at night, back home drunk or whatever, because my other two friends just could never control themselves with it. And my homie Shane, we drove his car, but he couldn't see at night. So if we left at night, he wasn't driving, whether he was drunk or not.
That's real talk.
Yeah, so like I got hit with that, and that's where I learned, you know, like, okay, alcohol, it should be more like social, you know, like, you know, just to maybe cut off a little edge or whatever. But to be sitting there, I got to catch up when I come in, and y'all a bottle deep, and I'm trying to drink a bottle by myself in 30 minutes. That's the type of shit I used to do. I would come into the party sober, and I'd be like, all right, how many shots y'all taking? Oh, we taking 10. They've been drinking for like 3-4 hours. So I'll come in, and I would try to catch up. So I would take 10 shots in like 2 hours, bro, and like and that's when I knew. I was like 25, DUI. I just had a kid. He was like a few months old, went to jail. Like you said, you're like, damn, all that time sitting in jail, my brother, my sister, my son, my mom, thinking about all these people. Like, I'm the oldest too. Like, on my generation, on my mom's side, I'm the oldest. Like, cousin, nephew, grandchild, great-grandchild, bro, it's me at the top. There might be one a couple years older, I think, that we found out. But other than that, I got everybody by at least a year or two. So, like, as I'm sitting there, I'm like, do I really want all my cousins to see me like this forever?
Yeah.
And then 2-3 years later, I started working at the casino, and that's where, you know, my life kind of changed around from there.
Well, yeah, bro, that's deep. That's deep. You know what I'm saying? A
lot of jail time.
Yeah, I definitely have done my fair share of jail time. Equal altogether. I mean, maybe about like half of my adult life, real talk, scattered across the whole time. I've been on papers basically the whole time. I ain't even gonna cap to you.
Yeah.
But that brings me to my final question.
All right.
What's your advice for the future? And go ahead and give any shout outs that you have to the people who have supported you on your way.
The biggest advice is find people who have common goals, man. Find people who have common goals early, because as you get older, it gets harder to find. So I'm 35, and I've just now found my communities outside of a relationship. When you become a parent, you know, you start trying to take care of the kid, and then you're in a relationship and trying to take care of her, and I didn't take care, and you don't take care of yourself. And so, like, a lot of people think it's like, you know, it's selfish to take care of yourself because you have a family. Or I believe it's the opposite. I think it's, if you don't take care of yourself, you can't take care of nobody else. That's the biggest advice that I've recently came into fruition with in my own self. Yeah. Is I tried to put so much into a relationship after 11 years, and I lost myself. And then the last few years, I found myself again, and I'm happy, and I'm meeting new people. I'm having better conversations, So number one, common goals, and then what was the second question again?
Oh, the second question was if you could just go ahead and give us your
shout out.
Your shout outs, yeah. Let us know who has supported you.
All right. I will give one shout out to my ex-girlfriend Stephanie. 11 years. She definitely put in a lot of work as well. Even though that we are splitting up and stuff, I know that we both put the effort in. We both had a lot of love for each other. That's why we lasted so long. But ultimately, again, like I said, goals, right? Aspirations and the things that you want out of life, they have to align. If they don't align, it makes it a lot harder to be in a relationship. And then the other shout outs, my sister, my mom, especially now that I don't have the in-house girlfriend or whatever, they've definitely stepped up and been like, we're going to be there for you. My friend Shane McCain, I was with him today early at the mall with the kids. He took my son with him to the museum downtown today. He's been there. My homie Z, he's a UFC boxing. He does renovations on houses. He does all the things. Just anybody on my Facebook that has liked or shared or commented and been like, congratulations on the new house. All those people. And then you, man, meeting you, bro. You, bro. Like I told you when I first met you, that I love the fact that your guys' generation, being young and having the mindset that y'all have, because I'm like, man, if I just would have been at that moment, at that age, 10 years now, I'd be so far ahead. But everybody has different times.
Well, I mean, it's just I think first of all, thank you. I appreciate that. I really think that a lot of it though, bro, is just the so they say hard times create strong men create good times create weak men create hard times.
Yes, sir.
And that's kind of how it goes. So it's like the unfortunate truth is like, to me, for my generation, for Gen Z, what I'm saying, for my generation, the hard times that were created were actually from the baby boomers. Like, they made it so easy that like our problems now isn't like war, it's like confusion. People are confused about who they are, what they are, and everybody's broke, but they're rich, but they got money, but they don't got money, So there's all these psychological problems more so than like physical tyrannical problems, what I'm saying? So I think that's really what's molded our community, you know what I'm saying? Because we got Gen, I think it's Gen Omega, Gen Alpha, or something like that.
After y'all, bro, I don't.
We don't know we don't know who them niggas is.
Y'all can have whatever name. I know boomers, millennials, Gen Z. That's all I need to know, bro.
Facts.
Before me, after me.
So it's like real talk, you know what I'm saying? Thank you. And I definitely appreciate that. We definitely always appreciate you here. You're always welcome to be a part of the Rise and Royalty podcast family. Shout out to Numbers Media for putting us on top of the podcasts, the trifecta. I'm calling it a trifecta. It's really more like a I don't know, like a mountain. We at the top. At the end of the day, right. We at the top. This is the greatest podcast in the 317. You feel me? And ain't nobody gonna take that from us because we the greatest. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Numbers Media, man. Thank you again, YC, for coming out here.
Thank you.
You feel me? And you have a blessed night, family.
You too, man.